Bottom Line Podcast. And to Mets fans out there, happy belated Bobby Bonilla Day. I'm Jimmy Finizzi alongside Neil Villapiano. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to listen to us. We really do appreciate it. Before we get started, questions, opinions, you know the deal already. On Twitter, at BottomLineWMCX, at The MVP Show. Use the hashtag BottomLine. Don't forget to leave a voice message on Anchor as well, or at Anchor.fm. And please make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well as Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, even on Anchor.fm. Just search for the Bottom Line Podcast, but please make sure you include my first name, Jimmy. And I am being interrupted by a very special guest here. My puppy has entered the room, so I apologize about that.
Is that our mascot?
our official Bottom Line Podcast mascot.
Show the world our mascot. There she is.
She is.
Wow, looks like she has a new collar. A new collar?
Yeah, she does actually.
Oh, was it red and green?
It's kind of like a spring/summertime themed collar
very
here.
Nice.
Don't look at me. It was my mom's idea. So
yeah, no, I got you. Looks like she got a haircut as well. She definitely looks different from last time.
She did a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, that's good.
I gotta let you down. I know. But anyway, that was our.
Just put her on the bed. She'll usually just chill there if you just put her on your bed.
Yeah, I might. But that was our official Bottom Line mascot. That was Maya, by the way. That's my little puppy and my little bundle of joy for the past 2 years. I've been very, very fortunate to have her around in the family. So anyway, with that being said, I forgot about trivia in our last episode. So to make up for it, Neil, I have 2 trivia questions for you. One pertaining to one of the themes that we'll be talking about today, which is the New York Yankees in baseball. And one of them is not theme related today. It's making up for the theme that we discussed in the last episode, which was the NHL draft lottery, which is still rigged, but we're not going to get into any more of that. So first trivia question, we're going to get into a little baseball here.
Sure.
Alex Rodriguez led the 2000 decade, 2000 to 2009, in home runs with 435. Who's second behind him?
2000s.
2000 to 2009. A-Rod hit 435. Who's second?
I feel like this is an obvious answer, but I could be wrong. It could be somebody I don't see. I'm torn between 2 players, and I feel like they're both wrong. Okay. But
what 2 players are you going to go for?
Well, one of them was Barry Bonds.
Okay.
My guess. And another one was Albert Pujols.
Both of those are incorrect. I'll give you another shot, though.
Another shot.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I'm giving you a fair chance.
So this is between 2000 and 2009.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. There's so many good ones, like Frank Thomas. You have Sammy Sosa.
Yeah,
still playing at that time. Ken Griffey. Jim Tomei. David Ortiz.
Definitely.
Is it David Ortiz?
That is incorrect, my friend. Tell you what, I'll give you one more shot.
What are you doing? Just give me the answer.
Third time's the charm, man. Third time's the charm. Come on now.
I've given you like 20 guesses. All right.
Oh, my goodness.
Let me think. Do you play in the same division as the Yankees?
No.
National League?
American League.
Not the Red Sox.
Nope, not the Red Sox. Not in the same division.
Yeah. It's not Jim Tomei. Maybe. Jim Tomei?
Third time is the charm, my man.
Oh, wow.
You are correct. Jim Tomei is second with 368. Albert Pujols, by the way, is actually third with 366.
To be fair, Jim Tomei also did play in the National League in the 2000s.
Yes. I did forget about that. Forget about that. I'm sorry.
Jim Tomei had, how many did you say?
Jim Tomei is second with 368, and Albert Pujols has only 2 behind him. He's actually third with 366.
Where's Bonds? Is Bonds on that list?
He is not on that list.
Maybe they don't count him.
But that's one trivia question. Here's the other pertaining to hockey from the theme from the last episode. Who was the first goalie in NHL history to score a goal?
Oh, I hate you. I hate that you were going to do this up. I am going to throw out.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to say it was Ron Hextall.
Oh, no, my man. That is actually incorrect.
I think he was the first goalie to score a goal in the playoffs. So there. It's probably somebody I don't. It's probably somebody that I don't actually know.
You don't know?
It's not Marty. I know that.
It's not Marty. No.
It's not Marty.
Although that probably would have been an obvious guess. It would have been a good guess, but
not Pecorine, even though he scored one.
No, you gotta go back to late 70s, early 80s for this guy.
Oh wow, you really gotta. Okay. Was he on the Rangers?
He was not.
Not the Devils, right?
Nope.
Blackhawks?
Nope. I'll give you a hint. Not an Original Six franchise.
Oh, thanks. That makes my life easier. You play for the Flyers?
Nope.
Wow. Jesus. I don't know. It's a good one. You got me.
Wow, I actually stumped you on a hockey question. That's a first.
Yeah, I know.
The answer is Billy Smith of the New York Islanders.
Badland Billy Smith from the Islanders. Okay.
Yes, and here's why.
He
actually got credit in the 1979-80 season. Billy Smith was credited with a goal in the NHL when Rob Ramage of the then Colorado Rockies, before they became the Devils, put the puck in his own net because Billy Smith was the last person to actually touch the puck. So it was Billy Smith who was the first goalie in NHL history to score a goal. But hey, you know what? You gave a valiant effort, and that was a good job, man. That was a good job.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's with something like that, there isn't that many goalies that have done it. So it's more of, But I'm pretty sure if I looked it up, Ron Hextall scored the first playoff goal for a goalie in NHL.
I believe you're correct. And he's also the first goalie to score a goal when actually trying to shoot it towards the empty net.
Yes.
I think that's why you were thinking Ron Hextall, which is it's still a good guess. Guess.
No, that was good. I thought it was going to be like an unknown person, like somebody that like only the hockey purists would know.
You would think so, but the answer is Billy Smith of the great New York Islanders dynasty of the 80s. But with
something you learn every day.
What's that?
I said something new you learn every day.
There you go. The more you know, cue the NBC music. But anyway.
No, by the way, before we start, I just want to send a shout out to the former women's basketball head coach at Duke University, Joanne McCauley, who just announced today that she is stepping down after 13 seasons as the head women's basketball coach at Duke University. She finishes with an impressive 330 and 107 record in her 13 seasons, was a three-time Atlantic Coast Conference Coach of the Year. At Duke won 3 ACC tournament titles and reached 10 NCAA tournaments, including 4 straight trips to the Elite Eight from 2010 to 2013. So she made a 6-minute video that she posted on Twitter. What is today? Today's second. Yeah, she posted. It actually came out like an hour and a half ago, saying that she was in the last year of her contract, and there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not she was going to, if it was going to be her last year, and so she just made it easier, I guess, and gave the university more clarity by just saying that she's going to be stepping down.
Absolutely. So
a very solid, a very, very impressive career. I mean, you have. You finished
very impressive resume.
Yeah, you finished with well over 200 plus more wins than the losses. You were able to create a very successful program. And obviously, no disrespect, but it will get overshadowed from what obviously the men's team at Duke University has been able to do since Coach Krzyzewski's been there. But for McCauley to do what she did with the women's program, it's a job well done by her. And, I wish her nothing but the best. I just wanted to shout her out. I honestly will tell you, I didn't even know who she was until this morning. So I just wanted to.
The name definitely rung a bell to me once before, but God bless her definitely, and we wish her nothing but the best as she ventures on towards a new path. But with that being said, that concludes trivia and our best wishes to the Duke women's head coach. Now let's get into some baseball. We will talk about Cam Newton this episode. Don't worry, we will get into that. But we're really, really excited because all baseball players, well, not all, because some actually dropped out of the season because of concerns with COVID, and I totally understand why. There's still concerns going around with rising cases. Thank God not in the tri-state area, but there are still concerns, which I totally understand why some players do not want to play, but that's another discussion for another day. But we are very, very excited that baseball actually is returning. The potential return of live sports is here. I'm so thrilled. But the Yankees are what we are going to be discussing today, because last time I checked, the Yankees were tied with the Dodgers at 7-2 odds to win the World Series this year. Now, obviously, this season is going to be literally a sprint to the finish line, considering the fact that it is 60 games and there are practically no excuses for any team.
Yeah.
You could say the Astros, but they're cheaters, but I digress. But anyway, but with the Yankees, listen, do I expect them to actually go to the World Series? I really don't know. It really is tough to say right now, because what are these 2020 Yankees going to actually look like? Are they actually going to not rely on the home run as much? Are they actually going to try and get a single, just a single or even a walk is fine. Neil, we talked about it. Anything you can do to just get on base. Even if it's a hit by a pitch, I don't care. Of course, I don't wish any injuries upon anybody, but anything that you can do to just get on base is fine by me. Even if it's a single, double, triple, walk, a balk even, hit by pitch, I don't care. Just get on base, come through in the clutch, and maybe if I see that in all 60 games, well, I'm obviously not all 60 games, but a majority of those games, if I see that from the New York Yankees and who they have, then maybe I will consider them World Series favorites. But right now, I can't really say that right now, because if you think about it, the Dodgers have more guys that hit in clutch situations than the Yankees. The Yankees rely too much on the power. And power is nice. It is. But when you rely on it, when you have to hit over 300 home runs a year, it just becomes a little bit too much to bear. So for me, yes, I'm really, really excited to watch the Yankees. I'm really, really hyped up. But until I see the Yankees actually hit in timely situations, especially when it comes to them losing down by 1, 2, whatever, and then walking off to win, unless I see that this year, Neil, I hate to say it, but bottom line for me is I don't know if I consider them World Series favorites right now.
It's really hard for me to want to say that I want to give anybody World Series favorites because, again, I've mentioned this before in several other episodes that whoever is going to be the most ready to go and most game ready by the time we actually start is going to be the team that's going to have the most amount of success. Even in a 60-game season, for some people that might even seem like somewhat a long season, it's a very shortened season. And so when teams get to the postseason, they're not going to be as tired. They're going to be a lot more fresh. We might have a lot more, back and forth games in the postseason and things really locking down. So that'll be something to keep our eye on. But when I look at this Yankee team, unfortunately is still built on the whole, notice of let's just try to hit as many home runs as possible. And unfortunately, that's going to end up being their downfall. It has been their downfall the last several years. And I know that you want to say things like, well, what if the Astros didn't cheat and, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you know what?
Even if the Yankees still would have lost because they struck out too much because they want to hit the ball out of the park.
Well, that's the thing. So when I look at this team, there are a few guys that need to be, mentioned that are going to be the focal point of this team. One of them is obviously Gary Sanchez. I'm really, really tired of hearing people saying, I am totally fine with Gary Sanchez batting .230, hitting 30 home runs, and hitting 80 RBIs. That's all fine and dandy. That's great. Good for him, whatever. But if he gets to the postseason and he's batting well below 200, he keeps striking out and he'll hit an occasional home run in a game where it doesn't matter. then Gary Sanchez to me is much more of a liability than anything else. Has his fielding improved? Absolutely. His fielding has improved from 2 years ago. 2 years ago,
absolutely.
he was atrocious. He was absolutely, arguably the worst fielding catcher in baseball at the time. And yet last year he did improve, but still made a decent amount of mistakes. I don't know what to expect from Gary Sanchez this year, but if he's going to progress and get better fielding-wise, that's great. But if he's going to continue to struggle at the plate like he has for the last several years, I'm sorry. I'm not really big on Gary Sanchez. I've been very critical of the man. I'm not really that, excited like everyone else.
I personally don't blame you. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but that just goes to show that some Yankee fans were actually upset that Austin Romine left to go to join his brother on the Tigers, because Austin Romine was a guy that actually came up in clutch situations. And same with, you could argue to a stretch, Kalagashioka, because he can hit. Yeah, he can hit the home run, but at least he can hit in timely situations. With Gary Sanchez, he can, but it has to be more consistent for him.
It's not that here's the thing. It's not even about consistency. It's about Gary Sanchez actually knowing when to come through in those situations, because a lot of the time all he does is just swing and miss at air. He just basically swings at air all the time. These pitchers know that if you throw an off-speed pitch pretty much right down the middle, Gary Sanchez is going to swing and miss at it. Because Sanchez is constantly looking for the fastball. He's been looking at it his entire career. And it was easy for him early on because he was a young player. You didn't have very much on him, so you just threw whatever, and he was just making him pay. But now that he's entering his 5th season in the major leagues, teams at this point know how to handle someone like Gary Sanchez. And has he improved on things like running down the first base line and actually having some speed? Yeah, that's great. But at the same time, his bat is the biggest liability of his entire game. He comes up. He should not be batting in the 5th spot. He should be batting towards the bottom of the lineup, 7, 8, dare I say it, 9, because his bat is just not capable of coming through when you need it to. You can't rely on him to be in those big-time situations and expect him to come through, because history has shown that he just doesn't do it. Now, could it all change if the Yankees make the postseason this year and go on to win the World Series? Could he be the X factor? Yeah, because I bring this up. Going into the 2009 postseason, A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez had been known as a very talented player, a guy who could 40, 50 home runs, over 100 RBIs, MVP, all that. But when it came to the postseason, all he would do was either strike out or pop out in very, key situations where you need him to come through. But in 2009, he turned it completely around. He had big hit after big hit. In the series against the Twins, he had that big-time home run to tie the game in Game 2, in which the Yankees eventually went on to win. He had a big home run in Game 3 of that series to get the Yankees in front, in which they would end up sweeping the Twins. He had a couple of solid big-time hits against the Angels, a team that at the time the Yankees were really struggling with in the postseason. And then you go into the World Series, and if it wasn't for Hideki Matsui having an all-God World Series, A-Rod had several huge hits. In Game 3, he hit a home run that hit off the camera that gave the Yankees the lead, a lead that they wouldn't relinquish.
You could probably argue A-Rod would have been World Series MVP if it wasn't.
That was the point that I was going to bring up. That had Hideki Matsui not had the series that he did in the several situations he was in, Alex Rodriguez probably would have won World Series MVP because he was just that clutch. But that was the biggest reason, in my opinion, the Yankees won the World Series, that A-Rod finally showed up.
Yep.
So for Gary Sanchez, in order for the Yankees to win a World Series, he has to show up at the plate. He really does. If he keeps doing well and improving his fielding and his catching ability, great. We need that. Trust me. We definitely need that because he has a great arm. He has a great arm where he can throw from his knees and get somebody right away. Very talented. But when it comes to his bat, it's not that good. He finished last year batting .232, 34 home runs, and 77 RBIs. To me, the only thing that jumps out is the 34 home runs as a catcher. That's impressive. Very good job. 77 RBIs, okay. Because the reason it's 77 is because a lot of the time, Gary Sanchez came up with nobody on. It probably didn't matter, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So they have that. In .232, that's not that good. The fact that we have to praise people for batting .230 is a joke. When just 20 years ago, guys were hitting 300 plus, and it was just the normal. Now it just seems like it's almost impossible for one guy to stay over 300 for an entire 162-game season.
Yep.
Is there a chance that we might see someone bat over 400 in a 60-game season? Yes, but unfortunately, nobody's going to count it because people are really, really anal about these things. But that's how it goes sometimes. But Gary Sanchez is one of them. Here is another one, Giancarlo Stanton.
I knew you were going to go there.
Stanton, here's the thing. Stanton was brought over in that big deal with the Marlins. He's getting paid $250 million or whatever it is. And
albatross of a contract.
Unfortunately, he has not lived up to the hype. He has struggled from the minute that he got to New York in the postseason, just like Gary Sanchez has been much more of a liability than anything else. So that becomes a problem. He's also not that really good of an outfielder, as I've come to learn. So now with the DH being implemented, I think that there's a good chance you'll see Stanton for the most part this season being the designated hitter, which is fine. I have absolutely no issue with him being the DH.
Me neither.
Because I would much rather.
I would actually prefer him at DH.
I mean, look, I would much rather he just focus on his hitting than his fielding, because his fielding is not that good. And if you ask him to come through in those situations fielding wise, a lot of the time he's going to disappoint. I'm sorry, that's just how it goes. But Giancarlo Stanton has also been dealing with injury. Last year he was out for the majority of the regular season. He finished batting .288 with 3 homers, 13 RBIs. There was a lot of question marks about were the Yankees going to have him in the postseason. And unfortunately, he really, really honestly didn't do very much in the postseason, and he was still struggling with injuries. And then we were talking about, if the Yankees get to the World Series, do you shut him down? And I'm like, well, can we not talk about that? Can we focus on the Yankees still have to try to finish off the Astros? And unfortunately, that wasn't the case as they lost in 6. Look at Stanton, just like Sanchez. All they kept doing was swinging and missing off-speed pitches. These guys do not know how to back off. They don't read the scouting reports. These pitchers have. I saw Garrett Cole. I saw Zach Greinke. I saw, who's the other guy? Justin Verlander. Yeah. Verlander, Garrett Cole, Greinke. I saw all 3 of those guys. They were reading the scouting report. They knew how to get those guys out easily. So what did they do? They got them in a 1-2, 2-2, 0-2, 3-2 count, and they knew we're throwing an off-speed pitch, low and outside, and you are going to swing and miss at it. And that's what happened all the time. It happened numerous times in the last 2 postseasons that I've seen with those 2 guys in the lineup. It just happened. And the last guy, and I think people are going to give me some crap for it, but I have to be critical of Aaron Judge. I really do.
What?
I really honestly have to. Yeah, I do. I don't think he's been that clutch in the postseason. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Judge batted .272 last year. That's average to me. That's not that good. He had 27 home runs and 55 RBIs. What's impressive about it is what he was able to do even though he got hurt and was out for a while last season.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of questioning it, because at least he was able to actually do stuff, unlike Stanton and Sanchez.
Let me explain. Has Judge been more clutch than the other 2 guys I mentioned?
Yes.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, he's had hits. I remember 2017, I think it was I want to say it was either game 3 or 4. He had that big home run that was a wall scraper, it just got over the wall, gave the Yankees the lead, and they ended up winning that game.
Was it the game was it game 4 at Yankee Stadium against the Astros that year?
It might have been game 3 or 4. This is 2017, by the way, folks. We're not talking about last year. 2017. What did Judge do last postseason? Honestly. What did he do when he came up? Very little.
Well, not really all that much, but he still did more than Sanchez and Stanton.
But let me be clear. What was the pitch that Judge would always swing and miss at? What is the one pitch he cannot help but swing at?
Fastball.
It is the off-speed pitch, low and outside.
Off-speed.
It doesn't hit the dirt. It's just low and outside. Judge just swings right through it and continues to struggle. One thing that Judge corrected that was good is that he went back to swinging with 2 hands. You know how a lot of time you see guys swing and they kind of swing they finish through with 1 arm?
Yes.
He finishes with 2. That gives you a lot more of a chance to get a big hit. That's what made Derek Jeter really good, is that he used both of his hands and he was able to just focus on connecting with the ball and got a lot of hits. Aaron Judge, to me, very talented player. Much more of a 5-tool player than anybody else on this team. Without a doubt. He can field. He has a tremendous arm. He can hit the ball pretty well. But in my opinion, Aaron Judge has not shown up when he has needed to show up in the postseason. And he is your number one player. If he's not stepping up in those situations, then I'm sorry. The most clutch player on this team last year was a guy that they just signed for 2 years.
LeMahieu.
That everybody thought was a terrible signing because they said, oh, we're not getting Manny Machado.
Wait,
well, guess
what?
You actually ended up getting a bargain deal for a player that's better than Manny Machado.
Wait. There were Yankee fans actually questioning signing DJ LeMahieu. Really?
Absolutely.
Where was I when I heard of this?
Well, when they signed him, a lot of people expected the Yankees to get either Bryce Harper or Manny Machado. That was the whole talk throughout the offseason, okay? Was it realistic? It's the Yankees. It's usually realistic that they could do it. Did it seem like it was going to be Manny Machado over Bryce Harper? Yeah, because I don't think the Yankees wanted to give Bryce Harper the money that he was asking for while they still had to focus on paying Stanton the amount of money that they're paying him and also eventually having to pay Judge. So they made a smart business decision. With Manny Machado, the question was always about this. If you sign him, what does that mean for Andujar? I mean, that pretty much, to me, guaranteed that Andujar was going to get traded, okay? But they signed DJ LeMahieu because this is what makes DJ LeMahieu really good. He could play basically anywhere on the infield. He could play first base. He did that. He could play second. He did that. He could play short. I think he could probably play third. I don't remember seeing him play third at all.
I think I've seen a couple of games where he's played third.
Because I know Gio Urshela played third most of the season last year. So that was something. But DJ LeMahieu did that. And if you want to talk about somebody who came through a clutch situation, all you have to do is go back to the top of the ninth in Game 6 of the ALCS last year. The Yankees are down literally to their last strike, and he hits an opposite field home run to tie the game.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, they did end up losing that game in the bottom half of that inning, but still, the fact that he came up in that situation and had the presence of mind to get the ball hit to the opposite field where it's a little bit shorter in right field than it is in left field at that stadium, tie the game, and give the Yankees a chance to force a Game 7 is the definition of clutch. Oh, by the way, DJ LeMahieu, I'm pretty sure batted well over 300 throughout the majority of the year, was an all-star, I might add.
Yes.
He finished the year, he batted 327. That's pretty damn impressive. 327, 26 home runs, and 102 RBIs, and probably had over 50-plus clutch hits throughout the season. If you had runners at second and third with 2 outs, and DJ LeMahieu was up, you felt 100% confident that he was going to get a base hit up the middle, 2 runs.
And by the way, DJ LeMahieu also won a Silver Slugger award last year, so go figure.
Did he win a Gold Glove? I don't think so, but did he?
Did not win a Gold Glove.
Right, and look, DJ LeMahieu was 31. That's pretty much, to me, that's like prime. That's like the prime of his career, okay? DJ LeMahieu was doing really well in Colorado. And remember, Colorado is one of those places as a hitter that you dream of because you could just, with the high altitude and the way that stadium is set, you can definitely have success without a doubt.
Absolutely.
So DJ comes to the Yankees, and he's been phenomenal. And he's probably going to have another really good season this year. And so we have to look at that. Do I feel confident the Yankees lineup can help them win games in the regular season? Without a doubt.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You look at the fact that they're only going to be playing the American League East and I think only also the NL East.
I think so, yes.
Schedules they have a legitimate shot of winning a good amount of games. I projected them to win 37. Actually, no, excuse me. No, let me correct myself. 34.
Okay.
I said they're going to win 34, which I never thought I'd say that the Yankees are going to win 34 games, and people would say, that's actually a pretty good prediction. Because you think if you say, 162 game season, they're only going to win 34 games. It's like, what happened? They just have an awful pitching staff? No, it's things like that. But you look at this situation. You have 60 players that are going to be available. You are going to have opportunities to test things here and there throughout the regular season. And you could maybe find a combination of guys that could really help you in the postseason.
Right.
But the biggest concern for me when it comes to just the lineup is where do you put Judge, Stanton, and Sanchez? And I'll tell you exactly how I want to see it. Judge should be batting third or fourth. That's
that
plain
I
and
agree
simple.
with.
Him batting second was a Joe Girardi love dream that all the frat boys, stat boys love, and now nobody can help themselves but put him second. You having him bat second is a liability to him. You are putting him in a situation where he cannot succeed. Wouldn't you rather he come up with runners at first and second than just one runner on base and have a chance to hit a 3-run home run? That could be the difference in winning a game and losing a game right there. Batting him third or fourth. DJ LeMahieu. See, this is the thing. I am torn between whether I want to bat him first or second because I like having Brett Gardner as the leadoff guy.
I do
because
too.
He still has a lot of speed. For a guy at his age, he's still faster than virtually everybody else on his team.
I 100% agree with that. But if I were them, I would probably lead off LeMahieu. I'm sorry because LeMahieu can not to say Gardner can't hit because he can and he's fast. But look at the way LeMahieu played last year and then talk to me.
Yeah, but, the thing is that, when you have the top of your lineup, you want to get guys that can get on the base and run. DJ is okay. He's not a speed demon by any means.
Right.
But he can rake. Like, he can really hit the ball. That's why I like having Gardner batting first because if you get Gardner on, the pitcher has to think about it. They really have to, keep their eye on the fact that Gardner could go at any second. But And then you could get distracted, accidentally throw a fastball right down the middle, and DJ will make you pay. And then he'll just hit a ball in the gap, and Gardner's scoring from first to home. And,
that's fair.
And then you have Judge coming up. You could have Judge, or you could put Glaber batting third and put Judge at fourth. I mean, you make that scary lineup right the top four. And then, in my opinion, this is the way I look at it. So I would put Gardner, DJ, Glaber, Judge, Gio Urshela.
Urshela.
Yeah, Urshela, sixth. I'm forgetting the positions, which I feel bad.
I think Clint Frazier's still in the lineup.
What?
I think Clint Frazier's in the lineup.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, I think that's another question I think we're wondering, who's going to be the third outfielder?
Yeah.
Because Aaron Hicks.
It's going to be Clint Frazier.
We did forget Hicks. Hicks could be back.
Oh yeah, Hicks.
So
Hicks, yeah.
Let's throw Hicks in there. So I would have Hicks bat sixth.
Okay.
Thank you. Let me just get that out of my system before I
English, por favor.
Exactly. So I would have that. Then, see, I'm looking at the lineup and I'm just trying to think of who am I missing? Oh, Luke Voigt. I was like Luke Voigt.
Oh,
right?
Voigt.
So Luke Voigt would bat seventh. I would have Luke Voigt batting seventh. I would have Stanton bat eighth, and I would put Sanchez at ninth. That's my lineup. And I know people are going to tell me that I'm an idiot, but when I look at it and I say, wouldn't you rather have Sanchez be in situations where he doesn't have to always come through in the clutch situation and maybe he could get favorable matchups? Because if you're putting him in those clutch situations where you really, really need him to get a hit, and that's not just getting a home run. It's you have a runner at third with 2 outs. We literally need you to just get a base hit and you get us a run that we desperately need. Is Sanchez one of those guys you can count on? No. Is Stanton? No. Was Ed with Encarnacion? Hell no. He was really bad. I mean, we have this. So that's just the way I look at it. So that would just be me. Also, I really wish the Yankees would stop having Tyler Wade on the team because Tyler Wade brings literally nothing to this team. He hasn't.
Did Tyler Wade do something to you? I mean, dear God, what's with you and this kid?
You want to know? I'll tell you what. Joe Girardi always was big on Tyler Wade, and this is a guy that he could run the ball. He can run pretty well, so he's a good guy to have as his pinch runner. But he can't hit well. He can't even hit close to the Mendoza line. Well, his fielding is average. Yet the Yankees put him in they put him in better situations than on Duhar. How does that work? How do you have a guy like Andujar, who is arguably a tremendous talent, and you have him benched half the time for Tyler freaking Wade? I mean, really? What are we doing here, guys? And I heard before some people say, oh, we haven't seen the real Tyler Wade yet. Well, when is that going to be? Because it's been a couple years now, and I've still seen the same Tyler Wade. I don't think Tyler Wade is a jerk.
The key phrase there is a couple of years.
Look,
just saying.
I don't have anything personally against Tyler Wade. I'm sure he's a great person, okay? What I'm trying to say is that Stop having him play over other guys that are way more talented than he is because of situations. Like, honestly, like if you're going to have a day off, right, and you have a choice between Andujar or Tyler Wade, if you choose Tyler Wade, there's something wrong with you. Like, there actually might be something wrong with you. Because I don't care about the fact that Andujar's been hurt. Guess what? He's had a lot of time to heal. He's probably ready to go. He's probably really healthy and ready to go. So, that's just me.
Yeah, okay. I'll play along. But now, in all seriousness, no, the bottom line of what Neil and I are trying to say is...
you have become one of those people. You're trying to defend a person like Tyler Wade who's not that good.
In my opinion, I haven't seen enough of him yet. That's just my opinion.
That's because he doesn't do very much. When he comes into the game, he does nothing.
Oh, my God.
He's not that good. All he does is run.
Oh, my God. Stop.
And you have a guy in Brett Gardner who is about 10 years older than Tyler Wade, who is faster than him.
You could probably argue they're equal there, but I digress.
My God.
I digress.
Come on.
I digress. But the bottom
Brett Gardner is a rich man's Tyler Wade.
Oh,
okay.
Oh my goodness gracious. The bottom line, before things get a little more heated, bottom line of what we're trying to say is that it still is a little tough for the Yankees.
We haven't even talked about the pitching staff. We just spent the last.
Yeah, we completely forgot.
No, I'm not even critical of the pitching staff because it's honestly one of the better starting rotations in the league.
Well, no, it is, but the big question is, can all of them stay healthy? Because we know Tanaka still has that elbow issue, but he's proven that he can pitch through it. So,
well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not worried about health. The only guy health-wise that I'm worried about is Montgomery.
Okay, yes.
I want to see Montgomery pitch a full season. And what's good for him is that since he'll probably be the fifth starter, at least that's what it's looking like, he will probably pitch, give or take, 14 games.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, that's a pretty good start for a guy who got Tommy John 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay? And he hasn't pitched in 2 years. And he showed flashes of being a guy that could be a number one. This was before Severino came on the scene, right? And Severino's out for the whole year. So for Montgomery, in a weird twist of fate, this is his opportunity to get back, in the spotlight. And
you also have Domingo German coming off a suspension, I believe.
Yeah, after 50 games.
Yeah, 50 games.
He will be available for the last 10 games of the season, like it's going to matter.
Yes, that was my mistake. I'm sorry.
Domingo German is one of those guys that, like, I feel like he could definitely be an opener. Because, like, I've seen him try to go 4 or 5 innings, and usually by the 5th inning, he starts to get pretty erratic, and he starts to, leave some pitches out in the open.
Mm.
Another question to me is, why did the Yankees keep Jonathan Holder? I mean, he had a really bad season last year and finished, I think, the year in the minor leagues. Yet he's going to probably make
that proves that he can't hold anybody on base.
But, the question is, are the Yankees going to go to an opener? Maybe. Maybe they won't.
You might as well go with Chad Green again. He's been their best opener.
I mean, Chad Green has found new life because we were all critical of him, saying that he was really struggling. I mean, he had a situation where he was struggling. He goes down to the minors. He comes back. He's an opener. And all of a sudden, he's like arguably the best opener in the game.
Yep.
Like, he's better than unless you don't count, unless you want to talk about the guys in Tampa, like Chad Green has done a phenomenal job as an opener. And it would be somebody that I would be interested in. But like, the Yankees have a rotation that they can go 5 deep. Like, they don't have to do an opener if they don't want to, because you have Garrett Cole, then you have Paxton, then you have Tanaka, then you have Happ, and then you have Montgomery. And I like Montgomery in the fifth spot because, again, I think you need to take him slowly. I think you need to allow him to slowly, every single start, get back to where he was. He's going to be finally pitching in, a real game situation in the major leagues, and he's still very young. If my memory is correct, I don't even think he's 25 yet. I don't even know. I really would have to look. Jordan Montgomery is right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally wrong. He's 27.
Okay, 27. Okay.
So he's right now entering the prime. This is like the prime of your career. What I call the prime of your career is the ages between 27 and 32, 33.
Right.
So that's a 5-6 year span of where you're supposed to be at the top of your game. Because when you're young, between 21 and 26, you're still developing yourself. Unless you're once in generational talents like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, guys like that. Usually a lot of those other stars, it takes them a couple more years to really get going. It took Javier Baez a couple years before he became, a real LeMahieu. I mean,
that's true, yeah.
It takes you a while. So for Jordan Montgomery, he's that guy that I'm really excited to see.
Me
Just
too.
because I want to see how he looks coming out of the fact that he had Tommy John, and he obviously had this long break. And I think going into the season before quarantine, it really looked like he was going to end up being, one of the 5 guys. And obviously we're going to be watching Garrett Cole, see how he does with the, in his first year with the Yankees. I'm excited for the Big Maple, James, Paxton. I think the way he finished the second half of last season.
Phenomenal.
I think he finished as the top pitcher statistically last season, the second half of the year. He was on a tear. I think at one point he won something like 7 or 8 in a row. Now, obviously, having a lineup like the Yankees do, it helps, but he was still very good. And even in the postseason, I thought it was very solid.
He had a stretch where he went 10-0.
Yeah, exactly. So if the Yankees didn't have Garrett Cole, I could argue to say that James Paxton's your number 1 just because of what he was able to do. But the fact that you can move him down to number 2 and maybe have a favorable matchup against someone else, that definitely gives him. And Tanaka at 3, that's solid. J.A. Happ, J.A. Happ, when he won 21 games or whatever in Toronto, that's because he was in Toronto, and we know there's some illegal stuff going on there. So let's call it like it is. J.A. Happ had one really good season, but when he was with the Pirates and the Phillies, he was not that good. With the Yankees, he's been solid. Like, he's not terrible. No. I think if my memory is correct, he pitched game 1 of the ALCS. And I think he went 6 innings and he gave up 1 run or 2. He wasn't bad at all. Actually, no, excuse me. I'm wrong. He pitched game 2.
Right. Game 2.
He pitched game 2 and gave up 1 or 2 runs. Like, he was really good. So the Yankees have pitchers that are not going to blow you away, except Garrett Cole, are not going to blow you away with striking out 10, 15 guys, okay? What they're really good at is getting guys to hit into double plays, to pop up, to, have to work the count but still get it going. That's what's really good about Tanaka. Tanaka makes you really work to try to get a big hit off of him. Now, in the 5th inning, does he give up a solo home run? Yeah, that's just Tanaka. He does that every game. I've noticed that. It's really weird. With Jordan Montgomery, again, he's the most unknown because we don't know. It's been 2 years and we don't know where he is. And spring training doesn't tell you a whole lot. Spring training tells you, okay, he's finding his game. It's when the regular season starts and he starts pitching in those games where you could really start to see if he's there or not.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see. And unfortunately for a lot of guys is that because there is no minor league season, they can't get sent down and go and go play some games down there to get their confidence back. They just get taken out of the roster and they just have to sit on the bench. So it's one of those things. I'm interested to see how this goes. But the Yankees, in my opinion, have one of the deepest pitching rotations in the league.
They do.
I think that their bullpen is okay. I hope that Adam Ottavino has a bounce back year. I think in the postseason he really struggled. I think that home run he gave off of George Springer kind of screwed up his entire confidence for a long time. I'm hoping that he could turn it around. Zach Britton is average at best. People can now hit off of Chapman. He's not this electrifying pitcher that we saw a couple years ago in Cincinnati. He's not the same. You have guys like Jonathan Loaisiga, still very young. And look, you have guys that are going to be coming on the 60-man roster that you can implement. I would imagine that Esteban Florial is going to be on the 60.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's a guy that has the potential to be a tremendous player.
Yep.
I think he's still the number 1 prospect on the Yankees. He is their top guy. He's the guy that they're expecting. So it's going to be, from the pitching standpoint, I don't expect to see the Yankees have a lot of games where they give up 5 or 6 runs. But it's baseball, and that happens. It's going to happen. I'm more concerned about if if and when the Yankees make the playoffs. Because, look, there's still a chance the Yankees could come out crappy as hell and just never get off on the right foot and don't make the playoffs. Like, that could happen. In a 60-game season, it's up for grabs. Any team, the Florida Marlins, the Marlins could have a great season. They could start off like 15-1 or something crazy like that, and they can make the playoffs. Like, I'm just saying. But if the Yankees make the playoffs, my question is simply this. Are the guys that I had mentioned in the lineup, Judge, Sanchez, and Stanton, are those guys going to come through in those clutch situations? Are they or are they not? Because if they're not, do you really want to pay someone like Judge that much money that he's projected to make when he's not hitting the ball very well in the postseason? I am not wild about that. You know, has Bryce Harper ever hit that well in the postseason? Yeah, he's had some pretty big-time hits at times, but the Nationals did win a World Series the first year.
Without him, yeah.
So that should probably tell you a lot. But, you know, we'll see.
Oh, well. By the way, I don't think the guys working on my lawn were appreciating what we were saying, so I had to shut them up a little bit. But the bottom line of what we're trying to say is that, yes, Neil and I are pumped to see the Yankees again. But questions. Can they hit in timely situations? And can they actually step up in the playoffs? That is remained to be seen, and we will find out once the season gets rolling. So now, let's transition over to some football, because somebody is finally off of the free agent market, and that would happen to be Cam Newton. He's finally with a team, and thank God. I don't know what took them so long to actually sign this guy, but he's finally off the free agent market, and he is with the New England Patriots. He signed a 1-year contract worth $7.5 million. I know your first reaction is probably going to be like, oh, well, that's it, $7.5 million on a 1-year deal. What kind of deal is that? Well, here's the thing. I like it because Cam Newton has been known, at least for the past few years, to be a little bit injury prone. He can't really stay consistently healthy. So the reason I really, really love this deal for both the Patriots and Cam Newton, and I'm a Giants fan. I shouldn't be happy about this because we beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl, so I should hate the Patriots. But the reason why I love it is because, and we'll get into who this benefits more in a little bit, but the reason I love it is because this is a prove-it deal. It's a prove-it deal for Cam Newton. They're saying, hey, we're going to sign you to a 1-year deal. Go out there and prove that you can stay healthy for a full season, and if all things go well, maybe we will think about signing you long-term. Maybe. Now, in terms of who does this benefit more, Cam Newton or Bill Belichick, you could probably argue both. You could probably argue both, and I'm arguing for both because, like I said, Cam Newton is on a 1-year deal. He's got to go out there and prove himself, and I think he will because he has weapons. Julian Edelman obviously has had some health issues, but he's still a big threat. He has Mohamed Sanu. He still has a great running game to work with. So this definitely benefits Cam Newton, and he actually has a pretty decent offensive line. So it definitely benefits him, and it also benefits Bill Belichick as well because the offensive system that he and Josh McDaniels have benefits him, benefits both him and Cam Newton. And why does it benefit Cam Newton? Because he's a mobile quarterback. He's mobile, so he can make the system work for him. You saw with Tom Brady the past couple of years, didn't really work out for him because Tom Brady was never a mobile quarterback to begin with. But with somebody like Cam Newton, who can run the ball, score multiple touchdowns in a season, you know what? I'm doing a happy dance if I'm Bill Belichick right now. Cam Newton is somebody who's mobile and can make it work. So bottom line for me here is I really love this signing for Cam Newton and the Patriots, and I'm really happy that he's finally, thank God, off the free agent market.
Yeah, no, this seemed like a move that was destined to happen. I think the minute that Cam Newton got released in somewhat of a surprising fashion, because I thought that considering the Panthers had allowed Cam Newton to try to orchestrate somewhat of a trade, I thought that was going to end up being the case. I thought he was going to get traded to somebody, and that was it. But the fact that they just released him, they didn't really honor him the way that I think they should have. I think that they left him.
I think they pretty much gave up on him. They gave up on him.
Well, that's the thing. And so you look, you have a new GM, you have a relatively new owner, and you also are bringing in a new head coach. They probably just wanted to start fresh with their own guys and their own people. And I think that the Panthers wanted to give someone like Teddy Bridgewater, who rightfully deserves an opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League, an opportunity. So I feel happy for Teddy Bridgewater, and I'm looking forward to it because I think he's going to be a very, very he's going to have a lot of success, in my opinion, with Carolina. I really do.
Me too.
It just depends on Matt Rule, because if Matt Rule can implement his offense the way he was able to implement it at Baylor, and it could translate well to the NFL game, sky's the limit for Teddy Bridgewater. And also because you have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield who can not only run the football, but can catch it out of the backfield. It's going to be a dynamic duo, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fun to watch, no doubt about it.
Yep.
But when Cam Newton got released, the first place that people immediately went to is he should go to the Patriots. It didn't happen for 3 months. This is why I think it happened. And I was listening to Adam Schefter when this first kind of dropped, and I remember Seth Greenberg was interviewing him on Get Up the next day. I think it was on Tuesday morning. They were asking him, they said, what was the reason, that it took so long for this to happen? And he said, well, basically the Patriots did what they normally do. They just let the market play out. They wanted to just see how everything played out. They wanted to see if Cam Newton was going to, if other teams were interested, which it turned out the only other team was Cleveland, but to be a backup. Unless that they were actually going to legitimately have a quarterback competition.
Right.
And I was interested to see how that would play out. But the Patriots saw this as an opportunity to say, look, we could really have a guy that could make our offense a lot different, maybe even more dynamic than what we were originally going to get with Jarrett Stidham. Which then brings up the question, do the Patriots actually have any faith in Jarrett Stidham? It's kind of hard to say yes, considering what they just did. But it could still be that way because let's face this. Is it most likely that Cam Newton should be the starting quarterback of the Patriots week 1? Yeah.
Yes.
Do we think that could possibly not happen? I think that there's a chance because Cam Newton could come in, really struggle from the get-go, and Bill Belichick may go to Jarrett Stidham anyhow. And again, if it doesn't work out, the Patriots are only paying him $1.05 million. Because again, that's the league minimum. And the $7.5 million comes from incentives, which we don't know what those incentives are. We have been told that they're incentives, but we just don't know what they are. It's kind of like what Tom Brady got. Tom Brady's getting like an extra $25-30 million for certain incentives, which I think is like if you win the Super Bowl, and some other things that I don't really remember off the top of my head. But without the incentives, Cam Newton literally has been signed to a 1-year, $1.05 million deal, which, funny enough, is less money than what they had to pay for the fines that they got and the decisions that they got on the same day.
They got off easy again, by the way.
For Spygate Part 2, which is so funny to me. Like, it really is.
In my opinion, they got off way too easy again.
It's the Patriots. What did you expect? They weren't going to – and again, you were trying to cheat against the Bengals.
Yeah, true.
Why?
True.
The official,
against the Bengals? Really?
The official punishment, in case you didn't hear, was the Patriots were fined $1.1 million, a 2021 third-round pick, and 3 people who were involved in the Patriots TV crew members, the guys who I guess are in charge.
They're not allowed to film all season.
Are not going to be allowed to shoot this season. I mean, that's not really much of anything, but again, we weren't really expecting very much.
Yeah, that's
true. But again, they paid less for possibly their starting quarterback this year than what they paid for in fines for Deflategate Part 2.
Yep.
Let that sink in. But I had somebody that I know pretty well that was talking to me and saying he thought that Cam Newton doing what he did with signing with the Patriots and taking that little money is stupid. Now, Richard Sherman called out the Patriots by saying, how could someone who was just a league MVP just a few years ago is not getting paid between $10 and $15 million, and you have guys like Jarrett Stidham who are actually making more than Cam Newton?
Well, again, Richard Sherman, I'll answer that for you because, again, And I understand that Jarrett Stidham's getting paid more, and I think it's egregious. But I'll answer your question, Richard Sherman. It's a prove-it deal for Cam Newton because, again, he's been injury-prone the past few years. Did you not know that yourself?
Well,
go ahead, Neil.
I will defend Cam Newton from that standpoint because I will say this. The Panthers have done a very poor job of building any sort of decent team around Cam Newton after 2015. 2016, their offensive line was pretty bad. And that's part of the problem. If you have a poor offensive line, your quarterback's not going to have a lot of success.
Yep.
And he's going to get hurt more. And Cam Newton didn't get hurt running around doing what he's normally been doing. He's gotten hurt standing in the pocket, trying to move around to avoid getting hit, and he got hurt. That's what's happened. So in many ways, it's not just that Cam Newton could be injury prone. It's also that the Panthers at times failed him. And he's going to a team now that has one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. He's going to have a lot more of an opportunity to sling the football. This is what I like most about Cam Newton going to the Patriots. And I think a few people mentioned this as well, but I'll mention it, also. The Patriots were most likely, prior to getting Cam Newton, were going to be probably a run-heavy team. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they did franchise tag one of their running backs. They pretty much, made it that they're going to have a two-back system. Like, they're really going to be more of a ground-and-pound team this year than they've been in the last couple of years because, obviously, you have a different type of quarterback. Nobody has the insight and understanding of everything they see on the field like Tom Brady. But that's through development. That's not just something that he knew right off the bat. That was something that he learned from being with Bill Belichick and being in that system. That's the number one thing. Now that you get Cam Newton, you get a guy that can not only throw the football very well, but he can also run the ball if you really need him to. You could open up the offense a little bit more. You can make it a little bit more dynamic. They don't have the world's greatest weapons, that's for sure. Can Cam Newton make those weapons better? I don't know if he could do it at the same level that Tom Brady has been able to do in years past.
There's a chance still.
But there's still a chance. Absolutely, there's still a chance. You still have Julian Edelman. You still have Julian Edelman. I think you still have Mohamed Sanu.
Yes, you do.
So, you still have relatively decent weapons, and you have a really good offensive line. You can make it work. And I think the Patriots will make it work. It's tough right now because of COVID-19 and because I don't think that there's a guarantee that we're going to have training camp start on time, that it might take Cam Newton a little bit longer to understand the playbook and to be able to do things because, again, you're limited to only so much. You're not going to have things that you would hope to have.
Right.
So it's really a fascinating situation to me because this is a move that I think we all were expecting. We all kind of expected, and in a slight way, we kind of wanted. I kind of wanted to see this, and I'm happy that we get to see it because what it does is that it works out for both sides, like you mentioned, Jimmy. For Bill Belichick, it's an opportunity to showcase, to say, I don't need someone like Tom Brady to still be successful. You can look at 2008 when Brady messed up his knee in week 1 against the Chiefs, and Matt Castle led them to an 11-5 record. Now, they didn't make the playoffs, but still, they were really good. He had a pretty good time through 4 games with Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett. So much so that both of them got a job as a starting quarterback somewhere else.
Yep.
So I think Bill Belichick was onto something. But this is that big opportunity. Tom Brady's not there. It's not like he's suspended for a whole year and that's the end of it. No. He's now gone. He's in Tampa. He's doing his own thing. You have an opportunity to compete. You automatically are one of the favorites to win the AFC East, without a doubt.
I agree with that.
You can still make the playoffs. Maybe you can make a run. Oh, and by the way, prior to, I would say, the last 3 or 4 games of the regular season, the Patriots had arguably the best defense in football last season. And they didn't lose anybody.
Nope.
They were able to keep everybody they had last year. That defense is still going to be lethal going into this season, if this season actually happens. That is really important because if Cam Newton is struggling early on and is still trying to take time to learn the offense, that defense could probably win them a couple of games to get his confidence and get the team rolling so that when Cam Newton is fully, in depth with everything, they can just come on like a machine. It's funny for me because this would be one of those years where I wouldn't be that mad if the Patriots ended up going to the Super Bowl. Like, I really would. Like, if it happened, I'd be like, damn, that's impressive. Unless they start getting BS calls. If they get BS calls, then I'm going to get mad. But I want Cam Newton to succeed. I really do. Like, I want to see him prove the doubters wrong because guess what? Most likely, if he has a really good season, the Patriots don't really pay guys a whole lot of money. So the chances of him getting a big money deal from the Patriots is probably not possible. But he could go somewhere else because every year, in my opinion, 3 or 4 starting quarterback jobs, are taken up by someone new. He'll have a chance to go somewhere else and be really good. So here's an example. I'll give you 2. Jared Goff with the Rams. I don't know how much longer the Rams are going to be okay with him being pretty bad. I mean, he can't throw a football that well. He had one good season and that was it. The Bears, could Mitch Trubisky have a bounce back year? Possibly. Could Nick Foles pull another miracle season out of his butt? Maybe. But is it likely? No. And could Cam Newton go 11-5 and be really good and do tremendous things? Yeah. And he could get a big money deal from one of them. And it could work out for everybody. And the Patriots could still go to Jarrett Stidham the next year.
Yep.
Still have him as your franchise.
Yep.
And you win out. You cash in. Especially if you go on to win the Super Bowl. You have cashed in. You have cashed in. That would be one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen if Bill Belichick could take Cam Newton, develop him into an even better quarterback, and they could go all the way to win the Super Bowl.
But by the way, can you imagine if it's the Bucs and Patriots in the Super Bowl?
I want it.
Can you imagine?
I want it. I have, dude. I need it. We need it in our lives. The Patriots are not playing the Bucs until the season after in 2021.
Right.
So
yes.
We're not getting that in the regular season, but it could happen in the Super Bowl.
You never know.
Take that in a heartbeat.
You never know, and I would love to see it.
But I'm happy. I'm happy for Cam Newton. He's coming up from 2 shoulder surgeries in 2 of the last 3 years. He fractured his foot last year, which missed the last 14 games of the season. And here's the other thing that I'll just kind of – I want to leave you with 2 things. I'll leave you with a couple things, actually. Number 1, Cam Newton is 31. That's right. Like prime of your career. This is that opportunity that Cam Newton can really have to take that one last step towards being a really, really good quarterback. Okay? Really, really good. Cam Newton, this is his stats after his time in Carolina. He has 29,041 yards. It's pretty good. He's completed just under 60% of his passes. That's solid. 182 touchdowns and 108 interceptions. Okay, not bad.
Right.
This is what he's done on the ground. 4,806 yards and 58 touchdowns. That's pretty darn good if you ask me. And here's another thing that I want everybody to just remember. The Patriots were considering Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
The only reason that we have heard that they didn't sign Kaepernick had to do with the fact that he had been away from football for this long. They didn't know how much football he had left in the tank. Is that a fair thing to say? If that's the truth, that's a fair thing to say.
Right.
It is. I think that's fair. If this doesn't work out with Cam Newton, right? It's a 1-year deal. They can move on from him. And also, the Patriots have $90 million in cap space in 2021. They're fine. Even though they don't pay players, so like the chance, like the cap will go from like 90 to like 75. It won't be like somebody's getting a max deal. It just doesn't happen with the Patriots. It hasn't happened in the history since Bill Belichick has been there.
Right.
I think the last guy to get a decent amount of money was probably Curtis Martin in his heyday. That'd be about the last time I can remember. Maybe Randy Moss. Maybe. I don't know. But the Patriots are in a situation where they can't really lose. Because if they don't do that well this season, I don't think any Patriots fan is going to be that angry because they'll see what's going on. I think you should feel confident as a Patriots fan because you still have Bill Belichick. It's not like Belichick left and you still have Tom Brady.
If he left and McDaniels was the coach, then you may have a few question marks.
Well, McDaniels has proven that he's not that great of a head coach, but it could be different because I think most likely he's going to be the guy that takes over for Bill Belichick when he retires.
Right.
That's just me. That's why I think he's constantly not taking other jobs. That's why I think he screwed over the Colts 2 years ago. That's just me. But the the Patriots will have over $90 million in cap. They could really get some guys into this organization that could keep the Patriots dynasty going for many more years. Like, it's true, because the Patriots do things, as much as they cheat, and we know they've cheated because it's obvious.
Right.
They've also done a lot of things that most NFL teams wish that their team could do. Just understand what it takes to, build a successful team. And there is that Patriots discount and things like that. But if you're a Patriots fan, your future, unless it just totally goes to crap, which you can always do, you still have a pretty good chance of being successful over the next couple of years. So I think you should feel pretty excited to see what happens with, Cam Newton. And if it doesn't work, fine. No harm, no foul. You could just move on to Jarrett Stidham. You could tank and try to get Trevor Lawrence or whatever. You have different possibilities. So let's just see where it goes.
Yep, absolutely. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for both sides. It's a win-win for Newton, and it's a win-win for Bill Belichick. But bottom line is, we're really happy he's off the free agent market and that he actually has a chance to prove himself. And I think he definitely will prove himself. And on that note, that will wrap it up for this episode and another week of the Bottom Line Podcast. If you have any thoughts on anything we've discussed this week, let us know on Twitter at BottomLineWMCX, at the MVP Show. Use hashtag BottomLine. Don't forget to leave a voice message on Anchor as well, or at anchor.fm. And please make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel, as well as Apple, Google, and Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for the Bottom Line Podcast, but please include my first name, Jimmy. Before we sign off for the week, Neil and I just want to wish you and your family a very safe, happy, and healthy 4th of July weekend. Please, if you do plan on going anywhere, please wear a mask. Be careful. If you're going to see your family, that's great. I know I will be this weekend. I'll be seeing my family. I'm very, very fortunate and blessed for that. But just be careful. Be safe. Neil and I wish you a safe and happy 4th of July weekend. Neil, I wish the same for you and your family, and I can't wait to do it all again next week, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, because we were talking about the Yankees, I found out that the Yankees are no longer going to be involved in the Field of Dreams game, which
didn't
surprise anybody.
I found that out yesterday.
Cardinals are actually going to be replacing the Yankees, and so we'll have a Cardinals-Yankees, Cardinals-White Sox. That'll be interesting.
No, it will.
I like that.
It will.
No, I think it just makes sense. I think, honestly, because I was thinking the Cubs would have made sense too, but again, because of the fact of the whole thing with, COVID-19 and the traveling, it's fine. So I hope they still have it. Like, I really do. I hope they still, I really want to watch
that game.
They're still talking about having it. So I hope so, because that was a game that I was really looking forward to this year. That would have been something that, I would have spent a lot of money to go see. I would have loved to have been able to. I don't think it was open to the public, at least not that I think of. But
I don't think so, no.
But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
I got nothing else, Jimmy. Sorry.
It's definitely going to be a game looking forward to. And I can't wait for it. But, Neil, like I said, happy 4th of July weekend to you and your family, and I can't wait to do it all again next week.
Same here, my friend.
All right, my man. And happy 4th of July weekend again to – if you're listening out there, to you and your family and your loved ones, be safe and wear a mask. For Neil Villapiano, I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.